Good morning. Good morning. So we have a couple people on here. So just gonna wait another couple of minutes and we will get started. I hope you're having a great morning so far. As I said, we'll wait a couple more minutes, see how many other people get on here, and then we'll get to work. Um, in the time being, before we get started, just make sure that you have some kind of resistance. Actually, not necessarily even need it, but I'm using 2 cans of chickpeas, so some good protein. For my resistance this morning, I do have weights, but I just wanted to, kind of show that it can be effective using, you don't really necessarily need actual dumbbells or resistance. So I'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Okay. All right. 9:30. We have a few people on here, which I'm really excited about. And the nice part about the YouTube, on top of the benefits that I shared in the email this morning, is that these will be available. If you ever want to, go back and watch the class, or do the class again over. Another nice part about the balance training is that you can really do it every day. This is not something that you necessarily need to take a day off in between, like you do for a lot of other styles of training, specifically strength training. So the balance training is something that you can really practice at any time. All right. So first, I want to introduce myself for those of you who do not know me. My name is George Norton. I'm the owner of Joint Effort Exercise in Brantford, Guilford, Old Saybrook, and Niantic. We are excited. We're going to probably be expanding down towards the Milford Orange Way over the next few months. So I did do a presentation down there a few weeks ago, and I shared that I would start doing this class to kind of introduce this style of training to people that aren't around our current locations. So as I said in the email, all you'll need today is some loose fitting clothing, a bottle of water if you have it. It's some weights, as I said before, to those of you who are on. This is what I'm going to be using for my resistance this morning, is just a can of 2 cans of chickpeas and a sturdy chair. So this is not necessarily so sturdy, but if your balance is a little bit compromised, and that's what you're here for, please make sure that you have something sturdy that you can hang on to. Some of these movements might be a little bit challenging for you. We're really starting very conservatively, but still, with that being said, if you do have a balance concern, just make sure that you have something sturdy that you can hang on to. And that's essentially it. And as I said in the email, an eagerness to improve the way you're looking, feeling, and functioning right now. Because the strength and balance training, if you've seen me, present, or heard me talk, or have read my emails, it's truly my passion to get as many people as I possibly can to start doing this type of training, because it can help you to improve your strength, balance, agility, energy, confidence, and just overall quality of life as you age. So without further ado, we'll get started. So we're just going to do a quick warm up, so about 3-minute warm up. That is going to just get your muscles ready to work, and really your body in general ready to work. So I'm going to start my clock here, and we'll get going. All right. So All right, so the first exercise that we'll do is just, again, a warm up. It's going to be a modified jumping jack. And again, if you need a chair, next to you, if you have any balance concerns, please feel free to, to use it if you can. For this one, you don't necessarily need it, but if, just have it there just in case. So arms are just going to go down to the sides. And for 30 seconds, we're just going to do this. So you're stepping in the middle, then out to the side. So just like that. So we're working our hips, we're working our shoulders, we're working our core, and just, again, getting the heart rate up just a little bit. If your shoulders give you any trouble, by all means, you can just go up as high as you can. We do have a lot of people that have, rotator cuff issues. And if that's the case for you, just go till you feel comfortable. All right. We have about 5 seconds left. And good. Okay. All right, so the next one that we'll do, so now we got our frontal plane, which is moving side to side, is we're just going to do what's called high knees. Exactly what it sounds like, all right? So for 30 seconds, I'm just going to essentially march. If you need to hang on to your chair here, you certainly can. So just like so. This is really actually good for your core. It's good for balance. So if you can challenge yourself to stay, to not hang on, by all means, do that as well. And again, all of these movements are just going to be about 30 seconds just to get warmed up, and go at your own speed. So don't feel pressured to go at the speed that I do. If you can go faster than me, by all means, you can do that as well. But don't feel pressured to go at the speed. Go at the speed that you feel comfortable. All right. The next one that we'll do are called butt kicks. So you just want to have your feet spread about a little wider than shoulder width apart. And we're just going to shift our weight side to side. Again, if you want to have the chair next to you, you can. You're just going to shift your weight side to side and bring your heel up towards your rear end as you go. Just like that. Very good. And we'll do about 10 more seconds of this. Remember, at your own pace. 3, 2, and 1. And the last warm-up that we'll do is called a good morning. Don't ask me why it's called good morning, but it is. So all you'll do, you're going to just put your hands, you can either put your hands behind your ears or across your chest. And all you'll do is inhale as you go down, and then exhale as you come up. And you're going to squeeze your glutes as you come up. So it's going to loosen up your hips and the muscles of your low back before we actually get started. So I'll just have my arms crossed over the sides. Across my chest, just to make it a little bit easier. So just like that. 5 more seconds. And you should be feeling your glute muscles fire as you go up. And that's it. All right. So that is our warm-up. So that was about 3 minutes long, nice and easy. It's usually an adequate amount of time to get your cardiovascular system working and all the muscles that we're going to work. We just used. So everything is ready and prepared. All right. So the first exercise, well, the way that it's going to be structured, we're going to be doing something called a static movement. So a static movement is essentially standing still. Okay. We don't want to be doing all static movements when we're training for balance. So, you'll hear a lot of people doing, standing on one leg and doing other movements that are standing still. And that's their primary, type of exercise to improve their balance. We don't stand still in life, so we don't want to be just training that way. So we want to be doing, dynamic exercises as well that are going to help you as you're moving around. So again, to improve your gait, your agility, your balance, and most importantly, your confidence. So that's that's a really big something that we really try to improve upon with our clients, is to help them to become more confident, so they feel better and more comfortable doing their activities of daily living, activities that they enjoy, for as long as possible. All right. So the first movement that we'll do is very, very simple. It is just called a weight shift. All right. So you're going to have your feet close together. Very simple. But I want you to face that chair or whatever sturdy piece of piece of furniture that you're going into, whether it's a countertop, a couch, anything. All right. So I want you to face that direction, and all I want you to do is shift your weight forward and back. Okay. So forward and back. So you're going to get used to using the muscles in the front of your legs as well as the back of your legs to sort of start and stop your movement. All right. So I know it doesn't look like I'm doing all that much, but I'm using my calves in this way. And now I'm using my proprioception as well as my tibialis in the front to keep me from going backwards. All right. So we're going to do that for about 5 more seconds. And good, just like that. So very, very minimal movement with that. Okay. The next one that we'll do is going to be a semi-tandem stance. So semi-tandem stance, you're going to hear me say a lot of these phrases. Semi-tandem stance, rock the boat. Okay. So one foot is going to be slightly in front of the other, like this, and slightly apart. So as you can see, so I always like to say, get as close as you feel comfortable with your feet. So your feet should be as close as close as possible. But again, not outside of your comfort zone. So, all right. So I'm just in this position here and I'm going out in front. And now all I want to do, I'm going to lift one foot up just a little bit, just that front foot. Okay. So just slightly and just hold it for a moment. We're going to do that for about 30 seconds. Okay, so just like so. So as you can see, you might be getting off balance a little bit. That's why we're staying right next to the chair in case you need it. We're just going to do about 5 more seconds. And you should be feeling a little bit off balance going side to side. That's why they call it rock the boat. And we'll do one more. And rest. Okay, very good. So remember what foot you had out in front that time. Then what we'll do the next time is you're just going to use the opposite side. So very simple. All right. Now what we'll do is we're going to return back to that first exercise that we did, which was just the moving forward and backwards. Okay. So again, we're facing the chair, and I'm just leaning forward slightly and back slightly. So we're just again getting used to starting and stopping our forward and backward momentum. Like so. Okay, it's not something we do on regular basis. So this is all going to help with what's called neuroplasticity in your brain. So doing some different exercises and different movements that your brain has to process and make new neural pathways to help. We're gonna do it 5 more seconds. And good. All right. Okay. So now we're just going to go back to that second exercise, which was the rock the boat. So I used my left leg in front the first time. Now I'm going to go back into that semi-tandem stance. Again, all of these terms will, you'll start to get them as we proceed throughout the next 6 weeks. So now my right foot is in front. I have one foot sort of in front of the other, like so. Arms are going to go out to the sides, core muscles nice and tight, and I'm just slightly lifting that front foot. My back leg is slightly bent, and that's so I can use my left quad to really kind of keep me in place, and I can use that for balance as well. And again, if you can go faster, if you can hold the knee up for longer, that's better. But again, this is just kind of the start to this program. So as we get closer to the end, we may be doing this on one leg completely, but this is just that beginning class. All right, we're going to do 3 more seconds. So we have time for one more. Good. Okay. All right. So now we'll take a little bit of a break. We'll grab a little bit of water if we can. And we'll get right back into it. So we're going to move on to 2 new movements next. All right. Okay. So the next movement that we'll do is we're going to just stand with both feet in front. So this is going to be the static movement. You can do this either probably facing your chair or whatever sturdy device you're using would be best. So I just want you to stand with your feet as close together as possible. So just right up against each other. And you're going to stand out in front just like this, okay? So now without the hands down to the sides rocking back and forth, I want you to do the same thing, but keep your hands up like so. So you're just going to go back and forth, kind of rock. So we're going to do this for about 30 seconds. So you should be feeling your shoulders work a little bit. So this is an isometric exercise for your shoulders as well. So just back and forth, just like that. And again, all of this helps with your brain activity and brain function as well as it relates to your physical functionality. So I know it might seem like it's not all that challenging for some of you, but it is doing a lot for, for not only your balance, but also the way that your brain, talks to your muscles. All right, so the next one that we'll do are just calf raises. We're going to stay in the same position. So the calves are a really integral part in muscle group. They're the muscle group that's furthest, the major muscle group that's furthest away from your heart. So it's really good for circulation, but they also play a key role in balance as well. So having good, strong calves does help you, start and stop movement, and just again helps with overall functionality and balance. All right, so you're going to stand right next to your chair again, facing it. And I just want you to not hang on if you can. And I want you to go up onto your tiptoes, okay? And we're going to do that for, again, another 30 seconds. Just like so. And you're shifting the weight back and forth just a slight bit. But this time, again, you're going up onto your toes this time. All right. Okay, about 5 more seconds. You should be feeling some lactic acid start to build up down in your calves like this, and rest. Good. So that's that burning sensation. So that's your muscles using a fuel source that you use for these types of muscle contractions initially. That's just the byproduct of that. So it's over time that will get much, much better as your muscles start to improve. All right. So the same thing, we're going to just, again, face our chair and go back to that weight shift. All right. So hands are going to be in front. Again, this time your feet are as close together as possible. And we're going arms out in front and just leaning back and forth. Okay. If you need to hold on, by all means, you can do that. And we'll be moving on to different movements right after this. I know this is sort of similar to that first movement that we did, but it's very important that we get these basics and fundamentals down before we move into others. About 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. And now the calf raise. So if you can do the calf raise without hanging onto the chair, please do that. Again, you always want to be, going outside of your comfort zone just a little bit, nothing dangerous, obviously. But if you can challenge yourself a little bit by not hanging on, please do so. All right. So feet about shoulder width apart with this, trying not to hang on, and you'll notice a drastic difference in your balance when doing it without hanging on. It's more challenging than it seems. Just like that, and up as high as you can. A slight pause at the top. And about 5 more seconds. And rest. Very good. Excuse me. Okay. All right, so if you can grab just a little bit of water again, and we'll move on to our next exercise. I want to see if anybody has any questions here. Don't see any just yet. Hope everybody's enjoying it so far. And as I said in the email, even if you're not doing the class today or just taking a look at the structure of it and how it works, that's completely fine. We're starting very conservatively, and as I mentioned, we'll gradually build up. Okay. All right, so the next movement that we are going to do is just that static exercise is just going to be that static semi-tandem stance hold, okay? So you're going to put one foot slightly in front of the other, just like this, okay? And get those feet as close as you can to one another, all right? So you can, if you feel most comfortable being out here and that you're a little bit unsteady, even at that distance away, then stay there. But if you can get a little bit closer, that's ideal. You want to be slightly unsteady with the position of your feet. That's what changes this whole movement, okay? So you're going to stand as close as you can, and all I want you to do is let go of the chair, and we're going to try this for 30 seconds and see how long. Remember what foot you have in front this time, okay? All right, so my hand is on my chair, and I'm just letting go, but if you feel more comfortable having your hand hover over the top, please do that, all right? So we'll do this for another 20 seconds. So again, right now you should be feeling a little bit unsteady. If you're not, and your feet are as close as possible when they're in this position, put them right in front of one another so they're completely in line and you're heel to toe. So that will change how challenging it is. But again, you should be a little bit unsteady with the position that your feet are in, just standing still. All right, about 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Very good. All right, so now we're going to grab onto our weights. I'm going to take my fancy weights here, the chickpeas, and I'm going to stand one foot in front of the other, just like so, and next to my, my chair. And actually, I'm just going to use one can or one weight for this one. All right. Reason being, because this is the beginner class, I want you to have one hand available, for support. All right. But if you don't have to use the hand, please don't. You're going to have the hand hover over your support, hang your arm down to the side, and all I want you to do is pull back like this. So this is a very good exercise for posture. It helps to work the muscles of the upper back, helps to work your biceps. And we're going to do this for another 20 seconds. So just like that. With your feet in this position, you should also be feeling your legs work because your knee on your front leg should be slightly bent. And obviously gravity wants to push you down. So your muscles are working against gravity, which is your resistance with this. Let's do 5 more seconds. And rest. Very good. Okay, so I'm just going to put my resistance down here. All right. And now we're going to go back to that initial movement. All right. So we're going to rest about 10 more seconds. But you want to put your feet, again, same thing. You're using that opposite leg in front. And again, challenge yourself as much as possible. If that last time you were out that far and it was okay, just slightly move your foot in closer to make sure that you're off balance a little bit. That's what we're looking for. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to let my arm off. I'm going to start our 30 seconds. Okay. So right now you should be a little bit wobbly. If you're not, move that foot closer. Okay. So keep your core muscles nice and tight. If you're a little bit wobbly, focus on one thing. You can focus on me. I'm sorry, it's not the prettiest thing, but just focus on one thing and balance and improve, but keep those core muscles nice and tight. We're going to do about 10 more seconds. And rest. Very good. All right. So going forward, we're going to be adding, twisting and other, other dynamic movements to these. But again, this is just the beginner's class. So over the next couple of weeks, this class will get progressively more challenging. All right. Now I'm just going to switch to my other hand. I'm using my left hand. So I'm going to put my right foot out in front. Okay. I'm letting my left hand hang down. Right hand is over the top of the chair. Right leg slightly bent, and I'm pulling back just like that. So as best as you can, try not to use your hand on the chair. You should be feeling that front leg start to work quite a bit already in terms of keeping you from going down to the ground. So this is where that upper body and lower body strengthening comes in. This is the beauty of functional strength training. is that you work many major muscle groups at the same time. So about 5 more seconds. And rest. Very good. Okay, so those were the other 2 movements. So let's grab some water and we're going to move on to, we have 4 more movements that we'll be going through. Same structure, 1 static movement and 1 or 2 static movements and 2 dynamic movements, right? So grab a little water, take a little break, and we'll get into it. Hope you're enjoying the class so far. I'm so excited to be doing these. We haven't done them in like 4 years, and you know they're a ton of fun. As we go through, you know, you can ask questions. I'll be able to see your questions over to the right, and I can answer them or speed up, slow down, so you can give me any kind of direction that or feedback that you can. I'd love to hear your feedback anyway. So just email george@joineffortexercise.com after this, and I'd love to hear what you thought. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do is a feet together figure 8. All right, so figure 8 with your arms. Don't get nervous. All right, so feet are going to be close together, and all I want you to do, you're going to take your hands, put them together like so, and I want you to just make a figure 8. Okay, so you're going to be using your core muscles, kind of shifting your hips, stay nice and loose, and stay right next to that chair, okay? And try to focus on one thing. So focus on me, focus on like my torso, if you will, or my head or something that's not moving. Because as we start to, which we will, start to add eye movement into this class, it makes it more challenging, okay? So we're really just trying to get the muscles to be doing the work here and keeping you in place. And you can go as fast or as slow as you would like. Just like that. About 5 more seconds. And rest. Okay. Very good. And the next one that we'll do is just an air squat. Okay. So for this, I'm going to turn my chair and I'm just going to use this as sort of a contact point. You can use it as doing a full sit to stand if you'd like, but if you can, just hover over the top. All right. So what I mean by that is I use this as just like a reference point of when I'm going to come back up. All right. If you have any discomfort in your knees, which many of our clients do, you can also find a wall and just back yourself up against the wall and just slide down and hold this position, okay? So it's going to activate the same muscles, but not go up and down, which is when we hear, you know, a lot of people have trouble because, you know, they have arthritis in their knees, they're bone on bone. You know, there's a lot of reasons. So we're just going to do an air squat, and we're going to do that for 30 seconds, all right? Ready, set, go. So down as low as you feel comfortable and back up. Okay, you're going to inhale down and exhale up with this. I just keep my hands right near my chest, just an easy spot. You can keep them wherever you'd like. 3 more seconds. Let's try for 1 more. And rest. Very good. Okay. Move my chair back over. All right, and so we'll go back to that initial movement. So feet are going to be as close as you can put them together. Hands together, and we'll make that figure 8. Okay, exaggerate it as much as you possibly can. Keep your core muscles as tight as possible as you're shifting. Very good. Okay, about 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. And we're going to go right back to that air squat now, okay? So the reason why I like to go back and forth between the static and dynamic movements is generally during the static movements, the muscles that we work during our dynamic exercise are resting, Okay, so it's a really important piece of the functional strength training is to have an adequate amount of rest in between sets. So that's why we do that. So we have about 45 seconds in between the static exercise and the dynamic exercise, which helps to get an adequate amount of rest. All right, so again, arms up here or hands up here, and 30 seconds of sit to stands. If you have to sit all the way down and stand back up, that's fine. But try your best just to use the muscles to start and stop the movement. You should be feeling your quads working now, which are obviously very important for stairs, sitting and standing, getting on and off the ground. They are very important to work them in the way that we are now. You're starting to feel that lactic acid build up. We have about 5 more seconds. That's how your muscles improve and get stronger. Okay. Rest. All right, that was probably the most challenging move that we did so far in terms of the exertion level. So we're going to take about 60 seconds to catch your breath, get a little water, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. Right. For the next exercise, we're going to have our hand right on or next to the chair. We're going to the static one is going to be what I mentioned earlier about just standing on one leg for as long as you can, but I want you to challenge yourself. The second exercise is going to be an upper body exercise, just a wall push-up. I'm sure you've done them before. Most people don't think about their chest muscles or their triceps all that much when they think about balance and safety overall. But the chest muscles are really important because they help getting on and off the floor. All right, if you have to get on off the floor with your grandchildren or you're cleaning or God forbid you have a fall, you really use your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps a lot when you're in the process of getting up. So we want to make sure that your upper body is strong as well. Okay, so the first movement, all we're going to do, you're going to take your right leg, my left hand is over here on my chair, holding my knee up. So my the upper part of my leg is pretty much parallel to the floor, and I'm just going to let go of the chair. Okay, and then take a little rest. All right. The average time we do an assessment in the beginning of our program, the average amount of time that people can stand on one leg for with our clients is 2 seconds. All right. So if you're finding that this is very challenging, it's it's unfortunately very common. All right. So this is just one of the assessments that we do and is a common and well used assessment. So if you're not doing as well as you had hoped, don't worry, we'll get there. All right. So my left leg is slightly bent, and I'm just going to let go and stand on one leg for as long as I can. If your leg gets tired, take a break and come back up. We're going to do this for about 20 more seconds. All right. So just stand as long as you possibly can and just keep resetting. All right. I know that other leg that's staying stationary that's on the floor is probably getting tired. We've used them a fair amount today, but it's important that we do this to develop strength and then again overall functionality. All right, so 5 more seconds. See if you can hold it for 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. All right, shake that leg out a little bit. And remember, I just used my right leg and my left leg stayed still. So for the next one, I'm just going to do the opposite. All right. Now, the next exercise we're doing is that wall push-up that I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to do it this way so you can see exactly where my hands are. So they're about chest height and quite a bit wider than shoulder width apart. All right. So I want to step my feet back. I'm going to inhale as I go in towards the wall and exhale as I go up. Okay. So inhale in and exhale up. Inhale in, exhale up. All right, let's do that for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. In, out. And Just make sure you're straightening your arms out as much as you possibly can. Each time, really exaggerate it. You're going to work your triceps by doing that, which are another very important muscle group for getting on and off the floor, getting in and out of your kayak. There are a number of times you use that. All right, 5 more seconds. Good. And rest. All right. So now we are going back to that single leg stance. We have 2 more movements and you are totally done. Right. So now I'm going to lift my left leg up and keep my right leg slightly bent. All right. So left knee is coming up, upper part of my leg almost parallel to the floor, letting go. Okay. This is going to start our 30 seconds. And if you have to take a break or you lose your balance, just reset. Hold on again and reset. Just like so. Again, if you need to reset, that's totally fine. Halfway through. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Last one. All right, so same thing, wall push-up. So find the spot that you're pushing off of. If the wall is too easy and you have something else that you can do of a countertop or anything that's a little bit lower, by all means, you do that. We'll stick with the wall for today. We'll do this for 30 seconds and start right now. Five more seconds. 2 and 1, and very good. Excellent job. So don't go anywhere just yet. Grab some water if you are exercising with us. We're going to stretch now, which stretching is probably, flexibility training is probably the most it's underdone. I'll say overlooked is probably a better word. Components of physical fitness. So we want to make sure that you're stretching every day. You truly should be stretching at least once a day to reduce stiffness, reduce soreness, improve flexibility, and just overall functionality. It's really important. So all of these pieces are critical that you're doing on a day-to-day basis to maintain your strength, agility, balance, and again, just overall health. All right. So how many do we still have with us? Very good. 20. I'm so excited. Good. All right. So all you'll do, we'll do the majority of these stretches seated. So you can just grab your chair and we're going to start with our right foot out in front. All right. Let me just move this down a little bit. Okay. All right, so right foot out in front, and all I'm going to do is I'm keeping my right leg slightly bent, okay? And I'm just leaning over, I'm sort of on the edge of the chair, and I'm just leaning over towards my toe. So you don't have to necessarily reach the toe. If you can't, that's fine. You should just be feeling a good stretch behind your right leg, all right? And you're just going to hold that stretch. Let's do that for about 15, 20 seconds. Sorry, I keep sniffling. My allergies are killing me today. It's no good, but it's a cheap price to pay for the spring almost here. All right, so now we'll switch to the other side. And again, now my left leg is out in front. It's slightly bent, and I'm just flexing at my hip. I'm not rounding my back like this. Can't really notice it, but I'm keeping my low back straight, and I'm just flexing at my hip. So you're going to feel a nice stretch in your left hamstring. And you want to feel like a 6 out of 10 in terms of discomfort. It shouldn't be pain, obviously, but it should be, enough to where you would say, well, I wouldn't necessarily want to do this for another 30 seconds. Okay, and then back up. going to go back to that right leg now, but this time we're going to keep the leg completely straight. So really exaggerating, you're almost flexing your quad muscle, and I'm pointing my toe back toward me. All right, so what's called dorsiflexing my toe. And now I'm just going to lean down, and with my leg being straight, you should feel your calf muscle stretching. All right, no, it's such a slight change in the position of your leg, but it changes where you feel the stretch. So keeping the leg straight and pointing your toe back toward you, you should feel a stretch in the calf. I'm just going to hold that for another 10 seconds. Okay, and now the same thing on the other side. So left leg out in front now, left leg completely straight, toe pointed toward me, and then just lean forward slightly. Again, you should feel the stretch in your calf and possibly right behind your knee, but the majority of the stretch should be in your calf. 5 more seconds. And rest. All right, now I'm going to face you. And now I'm just going to take my left leg and cross it over my right. So my left ankle is over my right knee. I'm going to take my left hand, and I know it looks like my right on the screen, but it's my left, I promise. So left hand underneath, and I'm going to lean forward. All right, so I'm same thing. I'm flexing at my flexing at the hip, keeping my low back slightly completely straight, and I'm feeling a stretch in my left hip. So this is called a piriformis stretch. It's a very common muscle group that gets tight and causes sciatica and all kinds of low back discomfort. So we want to make sure that we keep this muscle group as flexible as possible. All right, let's switch to the other side. Same thing. Left leg is staying on the ground. Right leg over the left, taking my right hand, hugging it under my right knee, and now leaning forward. So you should feel a stretch in that right hip now. And just that same sensation, like a 6 out of 10 is where you should, would want to rate this in terms of discomfort. All right, very good. Now I'm going to spread my feet apart, my knees apart, and I want to put my forearms kind of in between my knees and lean over and just spread my knees apart. So you should feel a stretch in the inside of your thighs with this one. So this is a good adductor stretch. You want to do everything really, get every joint moving as best as you possibly can. So this is another good one for the hips and overall hip mobility. Okay, very good. All right, so now I will stand. I'm just going to put my chair in this position. And I want to just put my right leg back behind me like this. All right. So this one, I'm going to keep my left leg, which is the one in front, slightly bent. My right leg almost straight. And I'm just shifting my weight forward slightly, very, very slightly. So you should be feeling a good stretch right where your torso meets your leg, and maybe even your thigh if your thigh is tight. But even more so, probably, you may be feeling your calf stretching as well. So the calf is a very, very, it's a tight muscle group in a lot of, clients that come in. So you may be feeling that as well. All right, so I'll hold this for another 5 seconds. Then we'll just switch to the other side. All right, now straighten out that front leg. Push with your toe to bring that leg back forward. And now we're putting our left leg behind us. Right leg is in front, slightly bent. Left leg is behind, almost straight. And now we're just shifting our weight forward. And if you need to, you can lean back slightly to increase the stretch in the top of that left leg. right. Very good. Okay. That was the first class. So it ran a little bit longer than it will due to a lot of explanation. But now that you understand the structure of how how class will go, kind of the speed, the intensity, I'm hoping that everybody will actually join the group. Again, it's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday for the next 6 weeks. And this was really just an introductory class on some of the movements, some of the feet positions. So it will increase, not substantially. So please make sure that you tune in. Like if this was challenging for you, that's great that you're doing something and you're here, and it's not going to go from this is the basic program to being very challenging the next the next class. It's going to be very, very gradual. So there'll be some of these same movements in the next class as as just the kind of a review, but we'll modify them very, very slightly just so you do progress over the next 6 weeks. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, please feel free to either leave a comment here or you can email me at george@jointeffortexercise.com and I will be happy to help. All right. I hope you enjoyed the class and we'll see you on Thursday. Take care.